So the latest trend in the gaming world is Fortnite, and the latest trend in the media world is vilifying Fortnite. In a preview to a 60 Minutes segment, it's insinuated that playing Fortnite causes brain death. Take a look at this.
Coming up, the proof video games damage young brains.
I think the best way to describe it is apoptosis, which is really planned brain death.
Irreversible consequences.
In psychological terms, this is an emergency.
I just keep playing. Just don't think about it.
And what parents need to know.
It must be very frightening.
It's not just a game.
And if that sounds a bit odd to you, you're not alone. So let's have a look at the full episode and see if we can figure this out and get to the bottom of it.
By day, Logan can be found in the same spot, playing the same game over and over again.
If it was my choice, I'd probably be playing about 14 hours if it was my choice.
Okay, so this 14-year-old kid could play for 14 hours a day if he could. That's got to be a major warning sign right there. But anyway, continue.
Like 125 million other gamers around the world right now, his game of choice is most often Fortnite's Battle Royale. This extraordinary phenomenon is a contest for survival. 100 players up against each other until there is just one standing. There's no blood, but plenty of weapons to collect and much strategy required for ultimate success.
Yep.
Logan, it's
Yeah.
Tara. I hope this is not a girl-free zone, is it?
No, it's fine.
To understand Logan, you have to step into his world. A world where you never get his full attention.
So how good are you at talking and playing at the same time?
Not very good.
Fortnite and similar video games have been Logan's sole obsession for the past 2 years, at the expense of almost everything else.
Do you feel like you're addicted to gaming?
Not really, no. I don't feel like I'm addicted at all.
Do you know what the definition of addiction is?
No, not really.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you really think you have control over these games and how much you play?
I do have control. I just choose to stay on it this long.
I don't know, that kind of looks like he's addicted. I mean, he can't even take his eyes off the screen and look at the interviewer. He could be talking to Fortnite legend Ninja himself right now, and he wouldn't even know it.
When did you last read a book?
A long time ago.
When did you last play sport?
A while ago.
When did you last hang out with your mates?
A decent while ago.
A while
Like,
ago.
Logan's desperate mum, Britta Hodge, believes her son is a video game addict, for which he wears a terrible cost.
Withdrawn, angry, depressed, anxious, completely different. I keep on saying to him, I miss my boy. I miss the boy that I used to have. It's not the boy I know. I mean, he'd be the one that would be the first to hook up his fishing rod and go camping or soccer. No. Can't get him outside.
Do you mean that quite literally?
Yeah, very much so.
Wow, you move fast.
Like Logan, 13-year-old Sam is trapped in a fantasy realm of high-octane and violent games.
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh, that's a lot of blood.
Yeah, you can shoot her in the head as many times as you want and she can still not die.
It's an alien world that terrifies Sam's parents, Joanne and Brendan.
Alright, we're on to a new kid now, and Jesus Christ, I think this one's got issues. Just keep shooting her in the head, huh? Because that's normal. Also notice though, he's not playing the incredibly violent game Fortnite, he's playing Rainbow Six Siege, a game that is graphically violent, which is why it carries the ESRB rating of MA15+, as opposed to Fortnite's M rating. But policing which games a child can play ultimately comes down to their parents who buy it. So there's that.
Why do you think this world is so appealing to Sam?
I guess because you don't have to deal with the real world. You don't have to deal with chores. You don't have to deal with, sports.
Yeah, he does. Just take away the controller.
You can sit there for hours and hours and hours and talk to people and they're not going to judge you. I mean, some of the things that I've heard him say online, it's so aggressive. Like, they talk about slitting each other's throats.
Gaming addiction is real and is so widespread. 3 months ago, the World Health Organization declared it a disease.
Yes, gaming addiction was declared a disease, which was ridiculous, but I'm still waiting for Netflix addiction and social media addiction, both of which can cause addiction and affect people's lives in unhealthy ways.
Hello, mate.
And more overwhelmed parents are turning to psychiatrists like Dr. Tanvi Ahmed to help their kids kick the gaming habit.
Well, I kind of miss having like friends to go out with and all that, but I got friends online.
Look, it's a modern tragedy. Because now stimulus people are able to get in the modern video game, including the social stimulus, they can have so many needs met, and the sensory hold the modern video game can have on the developing brain, who can't make those reasonable judgments that as an adult most of us can. That's the real challenge, and that's the parenting challenge that is, I think, different to other novelties in the past, be it television or fatty food or those sort of things.
The correct answer is take away the PS4 and start acting like the adult instead of letting your kid dictate what the rules are to you.
Getting annoying.
Logan is considered more susceptible than many. He first turned to this parallel universe to cope with the breakdown of his parents' marriage. And as someone who suffers severe anxiety, he finds it a safer, more soothing place.
That's why I probably started gaming, because when I was depressed and all that, I started playing games, and it just made me feel happy again.
And what makes you unhappy?
Everything really. Like, I'm just not happy in general.
And do you think that's a part of it too, that when you're playing games you don't have to think?
Probably. Like, when I play games, I don't really have to think about anything at all. I just play my game.
The obvious solution, banning video games, is not as easy as it sounds, according to Britta and her new partner, Les.
What?
What happens if you say, no, you can't do this? It's not as simple as taking the cord away and going, oh, well, bad luck, you haven't got the internet, because the repercussions from that, angry, aggressive, we've had to call the police before. I have been headbutted, I've had concussion, I've been bitten, black and blue, all up and down my arms. I can't hold him back now. He's my height, so I can't physically restrain him.
Sounds like you're frightened of him.
I can be. If he is in that moment, then I can be, yes.
It's unthinkable, but his fixation is so complete, Logan has refused to go to school for the last 2 years.
You're already dressed. Good boy.
While his 2 younger brothers are up and ready each morning, Logan stays locked inside his room, often ignoring all attempts at communication.
I'm about to go and take the boys to school.
2 years. 2 years out of school. Because video games? No. It's because his parents let him do this. Let him lay in his bed all the time and play games. This is not the game's fault. It's because they let the kid tell them what the rules of the house are. If I was being lazy and I didn't want to get out of bed, my mother told me to get out of bed. And I bloody did.
I thought he was feeling sick because he was saying, Mum, I've got a headache, I feel sick, I want to vomit. He runs to the toilet. And I was thinking he had the flu, so then and 1 week would be off from school, and it was gradual, and then it just built up. Can't get him out of the house. I thought he had the flu. But it was that he was up gaming.
Kids lie. Shocker there. Maybe you should have taken the TV out of his room for starters. Even if your child is sick, they shouldn't be sitting around playing video games all day.
Here, when you're told stop, what's your behaviour like?
I just don't get off sometimes. And just refuse to.
And that makes Mum angry?
Yes.
Yeah. And how does
and
that...
upset.
Yeah, and upset. And how does that make you feel?
I feel upset as well because I'm not trying to make her upset, but I just didn't see the need for me to get off.
Yeah.
And we thought maybe...
Joanne and Brendan are also struggling with their son Sam's video gaming. When Joanne was diagnosed with breast cancer last year, 13-year-old Sam retreated to video games and is now too missing vital school time.
This year he's had four full school weeks this year. He's had 50 days off.
So he's gone to school for 4 weeks this year.
4 full weeks.
4 full weeks.
But not in a row.
No.
Not in a row.
No. He does the I'm sick, I can't be bothered.
Sam's bad behaviour has escalated. He's been suspended from school and has been caught stealing from his family to pay for gaming credits.
In the space of 6 or 8 weeks, I think he'd managed to clock up over $350.
So what sort of consequences did he suffer for stealing your card and spending that much money?
Well, it caused a lot of problems between Brendan and I because I kind of tried to protect him and I probably shouldn't have as much.
And protects him from me.
And just, kind of protect, because I knew that the console would have gone across the road and into the creek. And
But shouldn't it? I mean,
probably.
In hindsight, yes.
Anything that gives us pleasure and that we're attracted to, gives us a sensory stimuli that's positive, is potentially addictive. And if that starts taking over our life, causing a negative impact on these fundamental things like having friendships and relationships, if it's impacting that and we're still going to the video game, I think we can call it an addiction.
Whoa, did you see that guy's eyes? But, Crazy Eyes does have a point. That does fit the classification of an addiction. So why give the addict more of their drug?
I don't want to be one of them kids that drop out and play your game and stuff like that. I want to actually get somewhere in life.
sounds like right now you don't feel like that's in your control. Why does it upset you?
I don't know.
Well, that's good, buddy. See, he knows he's got a problem and he wants to fix it. That's good, and that is an important first step.
What do you need to get through those school gates?
I don't know. I've been trying to work that out for a while now. I can't really ever figure out why I can't go. Like, I would go, but I don't know why I can't, though. I just can't.
I bet if he didn't have a PlayStation in his bloody room, he'd think of a reason.
In psychological terms, this is an emergency. And school refusal, people who can't go to school, that's an emergency in our society, because that's where we learn about the social world.
The populations of these South...
It's easy to judge Logan and his family, but Dr. Tanvir Ahmed says for whatever reason, going to school is literally terrifying for this boy.
On a school bus, the ratio...
I think for us, the equivalent might be that if we're going into a room where there is something life-threatening, your heart might race, you might start hyperventilating, you'd get all this adrenaline telling you that there is something really scary out there and do not go there. These are the signals we'd get. You know, they're very biological. That's what he's getting just about attending school.
That's not what the kid said at all. He's not terrified, he just wants to play games instead. He simply wants to play games more than anything else. Nice try though, Crazy Eyes.
For Logan and kids like him, it's much more comfortable to exist in video games. And at this Sydney gaming parlour, you can see how many are drawn to them. Those playing are plugged in and tuned out to everything and everyone else.
So how many hours are you playing these sorts of games on whatever device?
Probably around 6 hours a day.
6 hours a day?
Yeah.
So Joe, how old were you when you started gaming?
About 3 years old.
You were about 3 years old?
Yes, I was. My dad was a very big gamer and it just kind of got me into it at a young age and I've been addicted ever since.
Education coach Jill Sweetman warns the impact of excessive gaming is dire and long-term.
It's not just a game. This game is a platform, it's a tool, it's an element that has been so magnificently and exquisitely crafted to engage these children and adults more and more and more. And that's where it's insidious.
Yep, that's correct. Game developers design their games to be appealing to people. How else are they going to make money? You hear that, EA? Make your games more appealing!
And neuroscience provides the proof. As gaming becomes their sole focus, children's brains are irrevocably shaped and changed.
I think the best way to describe it is to talk about what's called apoptosis, which is really planned brain death.
Whoa, now brain death sounds really concerning. So this is the worrying part, the dangerous part of video games. This has got to be important.
Talk about what's called apoptosis, which is really planned brain death. And that occurs from the time the child is almost born. It's already getting rid of brain cells that are not being used. And what worries me most is that if so much time is devoted to just entertainment, under the auspices, the control of game designers, over a long period of time, what are we really losing? And those brain cells can't be gotten back in later life.
Wait. What? The definition of apoptosis, or planned brain death as she called it, is the death of cells which occurs as a normal and controlled part of an organism's growth or development. So a natural part of being human and growing older is that we lose cells. That just happens. So it's not caused by video games at all. He could have been spending the last 2 years playing chess or actually going to school and lost the same amount of cells that he can't get back in that time. The whole premise of this video was based around that problem, and it's a non-problem. It's just another fear-mongering tactic to get people scared of Fortnite. But these kids, though, they are in a bad way. So, let's see what the experts suggest to help the children.
How much do you worry about not being able to get off them? Ever?
I worry about myself and my health, and I worry at the fact that I might never see my family again. Like, I've just been drawn into the video game world and I can't get out of it.
It must be very frightening. So you just don't feel like you've got the strength just to turn it off and walk away from it?
No, I can't.
You can't? You really feel you've tried to do that?
Yeah.
See, now this kid wants help and needs help. And because he's a kid, his parents need to start acting like adults. Take the good with the bad and take the damn TV away. For this kid's own good. Not because of brain damage, but because he's addicted and he wants to live a normal life.
It was very hard to ask a young child in their primary school years to be the police, to be the monitor of their own fun. And in the home environment, if there are guidelines, if there are rules, but there are no real-life consequences, the child works out very quickly what they can get away with.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's the line any parent needs to take away from this episode. There needs to be rules and consequences for breaking those rules. It doesn't need to be specifically with video games. Anything fun can be addictive, but it needs to be moderated. Too much of any one thing can be bad for you.
Banning screens and the gaming they allow must seem impossible. For some, even setting boundaries is too hard to try.
And that is the really obvious question here, isn't it? I mean, you've identified the problem.
Yeah.
Why not take it away? Take all the devices away. Stop the gaming. Why not?
It's not worth the abuse to us. It turns into an absolute screaming match, and I don't want the neighbours subjected to it.
It's not only us that cop it, it's
the
the
other
other
kids.
siblings. They'll cop it.
I see the logic in taking it off him. Don't get me wrong, we have thought about it. Brendan is very much take it off him. And as soon as Brendan goes to work, I give back. Because I don't honestly have the strength to be able to listen and hear the name calling and the
nagging.
Yeah.
While internationally, excessive gaming is considered a disease, in Australia it's not yet recognised as an addiction, making it harder to find help. So Les and Britta have set up a Facebook page to connect with other families going through the same pain.
There's a lot of children in the same situation or worse than Logan.
How can they be worse?
Older and also younger.
One mother has to leave the plate of food for the child at the door. She's not allowed into his room at all. Others talk about violence. I mean, Logan's had some challenges, but pales into comparison compared to what some parents are sharing with us in this Facebook group. It is quite scary. That one there is the times we've agreed to from 4 p.m. to 9:30.
Okay.
All right, okay, and then outside of other times, it's not available.
At home, Les and Britta are trying.
But it's also to give you a reward as well.
But a glimmer of hope came last week when Logan was accepted into a bridging school for children like him. It's designed to get him back into mainstream education, but will only work if he shows up.
You go up, Logan.
The child you've lost, as you've described, do you believe you'll find him again?
Hope. I hope I find him. He's in there. I'll never give up.
You can't.
Have a good morning, darling. See you soon. Bye.
Parenting has never been more challenging or more critical, for never before has so much been at stake.
You'd go crazy, wouldn't you, if Mum and Dad said no to all your devices for a little while?
Yeah, I would.
But deep down, is that what you want them to do?
Yeah.
You know they'll see this. They might actually do it.
Yeah.
Then do you truly welcome that?
I feel like I miss the old me.
You miss the old you?
Yeah.
So how much would you like some help?
I would like help in trying to stop my gaming addiction and try and get away from gaming, but it's not as easy as what it sounds.
So, after all that, what you should take away from this video is that no, video games do not cause brain death, but they can be incredibly addictive. If you are a parent, know that you're in charge. Set rules and limitations on your child's usage of video games. PlayStations and Xboxes both have parental time restrictions on them. Links will be in the description. Set it to maybe an hour or two a day. Maybe don't put a TV in their room, but above all else, don't let your child set the rules, because that is more dangerous to their mental and social health than any game could ever be. You're the parent. You bought the console and the games, and you pay for the internet, so you get to set the rules. And you can even take the toys away if need be. Kids have their whole lives to play video games, but they cannot relive being a kid. Help them do that. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. And if you agree with or disagree with anything that I've said here, let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to discuss it. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more in the future, make sure you're subscribed. Anyways, have a good one. I'll catch you next time.